It's time for the post-game show here. The LIV Golf League event in Orlando was a memorable one. Individual champion is Brooks Koepka, our team champions for the first time, Torquay.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of champagne. All right, we'll start with you, Captain Joaquin Niemann.
I'm gonna clean this.
Well, Sue-Ann Heng does her thing on the stage down there, interviewing Torquay, who are, three of them are from South America, Chile and Colombia, and David Puig from Spain. And they are young, they're vibrant, they're very talented, and they surely are a team to look out for.
For sure, and it was nice to see the caddies. I love to see the caddies up there on stage with them in the prize giving. Having said that, you know, my old man Rodders, if that had been the scene in any of the events that I'd won, he would have taken one of those bottles of champagne, not opened it, and run away. Yeah.
You know, at our very first event in London, when I saw the caddies up there on the podium for the first time, it really made me, I just kind of watched it from afar and admired what we're a part of, you know, basically changing the landscape of golf and how important that was to Greg Norman to make sure the caddies are recognized for being truly the most valuable person on the team that's not actually holding a club.
Well, let's take a look at a few James Piot highlights, because we're going to go down to the practice tee and join him in a moment. He's been good enough to give up his time after the event here. This is his second shot into 18. His score today counted for the high flyers, 3 under overall.
U.S. Amateur Champion 1 year removed.
This is his second shot at the first.
Well, he knows his game very well, and he knows when he gets to a big hitter's ballpark, his chances are limited, but he played some pretty solid golf this week. Kid has a lot of golf in his future.
Phil Mickelson dropped a couple of shots late on, but a 67 for his captain, Phil Mickelson, today. Piot with his third at 4, and then for his birdie. And James Piot is with Troy Mullins.
All right, what did you think of your own performance just now? We just watched it back.
Those are 2 of the only highlights of the day.
No, you had a great day yesterday. Let's focus on the positive. You had 66 yesterday. So what worked well? What's going on in your game?
Yesterday I was just feeling the flow. I mean, made a lot of putts, hit a lot of good shots, and just kept the momentum going. So that was all of yesterday.
Okay, what about off the tee? How did you feel?
I felt great. I mean, it's wide open out here, so it's just like free swinging it all day. I mean, 12 is really the only tee ball you could lose a shot out there, so it's just like swing away from me.
Well, I want to look at some of your teammates' swings and see what you think of their swings as well. Can we get some of those? I want to first look at Tringali.
Don't get me in trouble.
Okay, we're pulling it up, but you already know your teammates. You have good chemistry with them. So what do you think of Tringali as a teammate?
Oh, he's awesome.
Oh, you already have your
What's that?
No, you had your mic. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, Tringali's awesome. I mean, he's cool, calm, collected at all times. Just everything about his game is just laser focused, steady. We call him the surgeon because he's just so dialed in and everything is smooth, perfect, and to the point.
All right, let's look at his swing. Ooh, look at that expression on his face.
It's just nothing. See that smooth, calm, collected? I mean, really what I'm looking at is the biceps there. He's been putting in the time in the off season there. That's what I really love to see out of him there. Massive hitter off the tee. He's swinging at it. He was getting it to 187 ball speed or something like that.
Wow.
I saw one the other day. So he's putting in the work. But yeah, he's
all right. Captain
smooth.
Phil Mickelson. He puts in the work every time. He's always on the tee on the practice tee tinkering.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say everything about Phil's perfect. I don't want to get in trouble. So it looks great. The shades look great. The form, everything. The watch, the style, the class. I mean, I can't say anything negative about Phil. Just look at that high bomb there, explosive still.
You also take style tips from Captain Phil Mickelson. Is this true?
You know, he dresses pretty casual, classy is the phrase he uses. I call it boring, but you know what? I love it. You know, he's got me. I got a black belt. I never had a black belt before. I actually just Had to buy one the past week just so I could fit in with the team. So,
Well, he did say we're all black, and you showed up with a white belt. That's
yeah,
a no-no.
That's style right there. I mean, a white belt with the white shoes. I mean, it's tough to really ignore how great that looks, in my opinion.
I could see
even
that.
Johnny Damon, he loved it yesterday. I had the white belt on. I thought it fit the outfit well, but you know, whatever the team wants, I'm going to be a role player this week, and that's my goal.
All right, now we're going to look at Brendan Steele.
Man of, as Phil calls him. I tell you what, there's something you can learn about watching the way he drives it. I mean, I just love it. It's just always, every time you look up, that ball's headed straight down the middle of the fairway. That's my favorite thing about Steely here. And
Look how flat and how long his swing is. That's pretty incredible.
just watch this transition though to impact, and it's just, whew, fairway finders all day, baby.
Here he is again.
I'm actually trying to learn something. I'm not critiquing right now. I'm learning from Steely. Like I said, one of the best drivers in the game, I think, and LIV just in general. It's just, you can learn a lot from them. So that's what I've been watching in the practice rounds. All these guys taking what I can and just learning.
Well, I can learn a lot from you right now. So, can you show us some shots?
Yeah.
And also, what are you going to be working on in the 2 weeks we have off before Adelaide?
Yeah, the biggest things for me is just making sure my club's in the right position. So my go-to area when I get in tournament time is it gets a little, pretty much the hands go out, the club gets in. So for me, the biggest focus here is just going to be keeping the hands and rotating off the ball. And then from there, just making sure this left shoulder gets around my body. And then just hopefully hitting them like that. That was probably the highlight of the day, was that shot
That
right
was a
there. If you look at my
great shot.
scorecard. So, yeah, just focus on keeping the hands and getting the club around, and then just getting mentally ready. That's really all it is, and excited to get back in action already. For me, I don't like the 2-week wait, so I like getting right back to it. So I'm going to be counting down the days, getting in the gym, and just going through my routine until then.
Let's see another one. You have a little, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a swing trigger, but what are you checking when you do this like body posture lift?
You know, honestly, that's something that was just built in over the years. I don't try to do that, but thank you for reminding me of it. No, I'm just kidding. But that's pretty much, yeah, like my trigger to go. So my instructor's not a huge fan of it. I try to stay away from it, but that's pretty much my weight shifting to my back right. Because my tendency used to be when the hands get out, the weight kind of goes like this. From there, it gets pretty much across, I would call it. So, like I said, getting back to that right heel, hands in, and rotating is really the biggest thing for me.
Speaking of weight transfer, can you be specific about that and like how important it is to, do you switch, let's say 60-40, or do you go like 80-20?
You're getting really technical for
I'm
me.
sorry.
No. But honestly,
You've got 2 weeks to get this out of your mind.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I'm more of a field player. I don't like to go by the numbers. So if you ask my instructor, he would have all this dialed in. He'd be like, yeah, he's 90 here and 10 up top, and then it goes from there. But for me, I'm really just feeling pressure. So like when it's tournament time, I can't sit there and go, all right, 80%. So for me, it's really that turn, and really I want to feel my pressure in this back right heel going back, so I know the club is going to have plenty of space. So once I get to the top, if he said, let's hit a cut, draw, whatever, from the same position, I could do that just because I have enough space with all my weight back here just to transfer it through the ball. And then unfortunately, I'm not a long ball hitter, so I can't give you tips on that about weight transfer and how to hit it the farthest, but it feels the best that way, I'll tell you that. Man, why couldn't I hit it like this today?
It's because you didn't have me talking you through all of these things. Okay, one last question. When you put your weight in your back right heel, where do you feel it in your leg? Or do you want to isolate your legs and you're just turning with your core and then you sync it up?
I feel it pretty much in this back right glute. We'll get technical here. Who said it a long time ago? Activate the glutes or whatever. Yeah, so back right glute, I'm really feeling it there, and then from there it's just a push. So everything from there, it's kind of going, I mean, it's up and around pretty much is how I describe it. So because you're pushing off the ground for that power. So you're getting vertical, but at the same time it's going through. So it's kind of a complex move if you think about it that way, but at the same time it happens so fast. It's just like, once I'm here, all I think about is this left shoulder clearing so my body gets through, and from there can curve it whatever direction you want it to.
Well, thanks, James, for the style tips and the swing tips.
Yeah, thank you.
James Piot, 23 years of age. He's like a 35-year-old in a 23-year-old's body, isn't he? But he'll never make that mistake again, wearing a white belt, not on Phil Mickelson's team. Black belts all the way from here on in. Great to hear from James. Obviously, Greg Norman alongside us here, Commissioner, CEO of the LIV Golf League. Greg, talk to us about the atmosphere out there, because when you drew all of this up, to have two guys representing two teams going down the 18th, battling each other for the individual title, and both within a shot of each other in the team title, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
That's what it's all about. And think about, and beyond that, the way the families of the respective team members came to the booth at back of 18 to gather up, and it was just so exciting to see everybody there. And it's like, you know, when you play individual golf, yeah, you win. Like if it was just Brooks winning today, he'd see Jenna, that's it, walk away, shake hands with his caddy and say, okay, we've done our job for today.
Yeah.
Today is like the atmosphere, the electricity of the family and the friends, and there are people from all around the world who came in, and Brooks's mates came in. It was that's what I love about it. And the team spirit, yes, these guys. I was on the driving range today, and I just studied the mannerisms on each and every one of them as they prepared, David. It was just crazy intensity. And then when I was on the first tee and I was watching the first group tee off, and I was just watching some of these guys like closing their eyes, focusing on what they had to do. And the intensity is so intense, and I was just great to see the quality of play taking place.
Well, a lot of people might think that this is sort of a new idea of yours you just came to, but you've been dreaming about this for what, more than 30 years?
Yeah, actually, it's 30 years ago, David.
Yeah.
Yes, I've always felt for the players, and always wanted to have the independent contractors have the ability to play more, have the ability to make more where they need to make it. My idea back in those days in '93 was not the team idea. This whole new franchise concept is just the tip of the iceberg of where we want to take this.
Yeah.
The long-term view where we have and how we want to build it out is there. And to see my iPhone when I'm away for a week like I was last week, these guys are sending me pictures of the team dinners and the team this and the team's working out in the gym. And I'm going, never before in our career.
Well, look at this.
Yeah, the caddies involved as well. It's fantastic, isn't it?
That is just fantastic.
So how important and significant is it going to be for you, our next event being in Adelaide, complete sellout? I think I think the tickets sold out before they went on sale. It's remarkable. How special is it going to be for you?
It'll be extremely special, because when I took the role on as CEO and Commissioner, my number one objective internally was to take high-quality golf to Australia. Yes, the President's Cup's been down there. Yes, a few big events have been there. And yes, a couple have gone down there on an annual basis to play, but never to the quality of 48 players like LIV is delivering. So to see South Australia embrace it the way they've embraced it, I think they're more excited about us coming there than the players going down there, and it's equal, right? So it's just fantastic to see. And you mentioned the ticket sales, Arlo. We're in excess of 80,000, right? They've asked us now to open up the Pro-Am, which was never done before, right? So we will open up the Pro-Am because there's such demand for tickets down there. And obviously from merchandising, you know, the Rippers, everybody wants a Ripper golf bag, everybody wants Ripper this, Ripper that, but it's also, we're getting the request for all the other teams. So to see this momentum building, not only domestically, but on an international basis, is just so rewarding, not only just for me, but the entire team. You guys are doing a phenomenal job here as well. So,
well, we get a ton of interaction. We'll take a look here as well from Australian golf fans who stay up all hours watching LIV Golf and watch us from around the world at #LIV Broadcast. I mean, it just moves the needle, doesn't it, down under? And the atmosphere that the Aussie fans are going to create, it's a home game for Ripper GC. And they finished in last place here, so they've got to improve in front of their home fans.
Well, it's interesting what you're saying about the home game, because when I played on the President's Cup team and captained the President's Cup team, and we went down to Australia, it never felt like a home game, right? Because it was an international flavor. We had a great team, but they were rooting to see, they were happy to see the other great players on the American side, right? So it wasn't you never really felt like, oh, it's a home field.
Right.
Now with the Rippers going down there, now they'll definitely have home field advantage.
Absolutely. Huge week for 18 of our guys who, if they're not going tonight, will certainly be heading to Georgia and Augusta tomorrow. Brooks Koepka, and it was wonderful hearing him talk about his recovery from injury, and he gets goosebumps thinking what he is now capable of again. Now he's physically great. Are the guys going to be heading into Augusta ready to make an impact?
Yeah, look, I think there's a slew of great players. I'm just so happy our players are in the Masters. I think it's a kudos to the Masters for recognizing they need to have the best quality field that they could possibly have, and to leave out a Cam Smith or a Dustin Johnson or Brooks Koepka or Bryson DeChambeau. We can go down the list, you know, Patrick Reed, Charles Schwartzel, all the past champions. It would have been a crying shame. But we're all sitting back now saying the game of golf comes first, right? Of course we would love to have one of our guys don the green jacket, but the most important thing is our boys are there where they respectfully and rightfully should be. I'm happy that the powers to be are recognizing that, and now the guys are obviously, the last putt's in, they're off. But just with Brooks, I just got to make a comment. I watched him on the range for the last 2 or 3 days, and I walked with him the first 4 or 5 holes, and to see the freedom he has in his golf swing, and to see the way DJ's hitting the golf ball and how the sound of the club face on the back of the ball, things are starting to roll for him now. Even Cam Smith, right? I was watching his ball flight on the range.
There's a bunch of our players have actually rounded into form just at the right time.
That's right. And we don't want to put any pressure on them either, right? They got to go in there and perform. But, you know, I'm just so happy that they're there, and I'm very, very confident.
But they've not been shy of putting pressure on themselves, have they? Particularly Cam, saying we want to go there, we want to impress, we want to play a high level of golf. It's important to them as professionals to go there and give a good show of themselves.
100%. It's about the respect for the game, right? It's about the respect. But I do know there's conversations going in that come Sunday, if 1 or 2 or a number of them are there with a chance to win, and one happens to win, all the other players want to be there to welcome them up. Now you just think about that. Never before in golf has that really happened. Your mum or your dad or your caddy or your wife or your spouse or whatever significant other is going to be there, but to have that feeling of the team and this community, the family feeling is just, it actually gives me goosebumps.
Brooks Koepka has created a slice of LIV Golf history, the first man to win 2 competitions. So, look, he did it in the majors, created history, didn't he, by winning 2 and holding 2 titles simultaneously, and has now created a bit of history for LIV Golf as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I just walked by him coming over here, and I said to him, Brooks, I've never seen you swing so free. You know, it's like you're hitting the ball into the clouds, and it was just so good to see him feel that way. And he says, I'm back. So when you hear a player say that, David, as a player, when they say I'm back, it's like, okay, happy days ahead.
We saw it in Jeddah towards the end of last season that, you know, Brooks, he wasn't sure whether he'd ever be back.
That's right.
You know, so, I mean, this is something, and you're going to be remembered, Greg, not just as a golfer, but as an entrepreneur. When you're giving these guys the chance to branch into business themselves, aren't you?
Yeah, that's one thing that's probably... I get asked the question, what about my legacy? And I kind of say, I think my legacy is LIV, because you've given this new breath of fresh air with a new platform that, you know, there was a comment made by the commissioner of the other tour, it's product versus product. That's true. Product versus product, both can easily exist. The fans, you walk around there today, they go to Bay Hill. We're here in Orlando. They come here. They love Bay Hill. They love the PGA Tour, but they love what we're delivering here at LIV. And from a player's perspective, to see them embrace their vision and their opportunity that they can do within the team and building out that team franchise value, that's generational wealth, David, that these guys haven't ever had a chance to do before. You had to be a lone wolf McQuaid. You had to do it yourself. You had to make cuts. You had to perform yourself. Now you got the guys even more nervous playing and watching their team members. And if you're playing bad, you want to pick up for them. If you're playing well, you're just trying to pull everybody else along. It's just an incredible, what we've done, all of us collectively, you know, from production has done a phenomenal job, everybody behind the scenes. But to see where we've come in 1 year and the statement we've made for the game of golf, there's just, all I can say is it's right. We're doing it right.
And it's going from strength to strength. And the battle today in the team competition. By the way, how exciting a Tour de K. The young Spanish-speaking, 3 from South America. David Puig, young guy from Spain as well, who delivered today. There he was, birdie at 3. And then a birdie at 4. His score counted today. The captain, Wacko Neiman, didn't count today. It was going to be fascinating to see, had we gone to a playoff, whether he would have selected himself to play.
Right, no,
all these little subplots.
Well, everybody was in there looking at 18, waiting to go, oh, what happens if there's a tie? Well, you guys better go get your golf bags, because 2 of you are going to be picked.
Yeah, and the great thing about this team contest, you know, you see someone like Jason Kokrak, you know, who's not going to be on the podium, whatever. He knows that, you know, every move that he makes is going to make a difference.
That's right.
And that's the difference between us and, you know, a regular tournament. You know, everybody is in it until the very last putt.
Exactly, David. There's one thing that nobody really is focusing on, the beauty of what's happening within LIV today is the way we're looking after the health and wellness of our players, our caddies, everybody, right? And it really is starting to permeate through. And I just love, like Matty Wolf, we saw a little bit there, right? Matty was at basically at his wit's end about playing golf, and here he is. He's found a new lease of life. Peter Uhlheim, right? He's found a place here, and he's just elevated. So when I start seeing and hearing stories like that, it just tells you our health and wellness approach, the way we are looking after the boys within LIV. Is priceless.
And there are certain players with certain personalities, and you mentioned Matthew Wolf. We talk about Danny Lee as well, who was absolutely sensational in Tucson in that playoff, for whom maybe life on the tour was a little lonely. And they have responded, much like Matthew talks a lot about, you know, college golf and how he enjoyed that, being part of a team. How they have responded and are thriving being part of a team and having that support network behind them.
Absolutely. It just frees them up mentally, because, you know, I mentioned it before a couple of minutes ago, it's a lonely world out there on the PGA Tour or any tour when you're there on your own, right? You leave that, if you played great, you go back to your room and you just absolutely sit in your room, and well, who do you sit down? You don't sit down with your friends and your family. You're there on your own, right? Here, when you go back and you've had a great round or a bad round, you've got 3 or 4 guys and the caddies picking you up and say, hey, don't worry about it. Greg, we're going to do this tomorrow. This is what we're going to do. Or we'll make sure you wear a black belt. Don't wear a white belt. You know, stuff like that. So it's just, I tell you what, it's just fantastic to see the energy and the enthusiasm amongst the players and even the caddies within the locker room and on the golf course and walking around, and how intense they are, but how free they are. Well,
hopefully you get to use your staff discounts on some Ripper GC gear before Adelaide in a few weeks' time.
I'm in a bit of a conundrum down there, and we've only got a short period of time, but a conundrum, okay, I really want to wear a Ripper's hat, but I really can't wear it. So I got to be like, neutral.
Yeah, I think you can do what you like, Greg. You are the commissioner, you make the rules. Greg, thank you very much for joining us.
Guys.
Congratulations on another terrific event. And as it says out there, we'll see you in Adelaide, Australia. As Greg mentioned, 80,000 tickets sold. We're going to have to open it up for the Pro-Am on the Thursday as well. We can't wait to get down under. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage here on the CW, on the LIV Golf Plus app as well. Victory for Brooks Koepka, the first man to do it twice individually, and Torquay took out the team title. It's been a thrilling 3 days in Orlando. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you from down under in 2 weeks' time.